Entering the Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings 2021 CJ Cup DraftKings picks, fantasy golf predictions, and bets. Of course, we're going to make some bets. Probably terrible ones, because I keep picking the guy who comes in second place and not first place, which I hear doesn't win, which is not great. Smash the like button to the episode. Subscribe to Mayo Media Network. We're almost at 30,000 subs. Just need 1,000 more, and we'll get to 30,000. So if you haven't subbed yet, help us out and sub to the channel. Thanks. Fantasy Hockey is back with fantasy hockey picks and bets on Mayo Media Network. If you like picks, you like bets and DraftKings plays, and hockey, I mean, it's the show for you, and it's quick and easy, 15 minutes or less every single day. Plus, if you want to play in the best tournament on DraftKings, obviously the Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League is not available right now for golf, but it is available for football, and you, my great golf friends, get first crack at it. It's in the description right now, so go check it out. There's problems earlier about restrictions, about beginners, as I wasn't allowed to join my own league because of some weird restrictions they put on it. I emailed them, so hopefully it's sorted by the time that you try to go and do it. If not, just click on the ranking show tomorrow or something like that. Rick Run Good, Rick Gehman is on the line. We haven't talked in ages. You're in Vegas. Golf's always in Vegas these days. Good fields in Vegas. How you feeling about the Summit Club?
Yeah, Vegas has been good. Yeah, first of all, Pat, thank you for. I know that it is very precious time during football season. I'm glad we could make this work. It's always good to chat. Summit Club's gonna be. I think it's gonna be pretty interesting. I was telling you before we went hot. This is very, very exclusive. I mean, this is. I don't want to call it a resort. It's not really that. It's a residence, and it's probably the most exclusive residence in Las Vegas. And this course is only 4 years old, and it kind of plays towards, I don't want to say more resort-y, but like that type of clientele, right? I think it's going to be generous off the tee. It's going to be an absolutely pristine condition. The greens are bigger than average. It kind of lends itself to that type of clientele that it gets on a daily basis.
So you don't really need to be the best driver, irons and putting. That's the strategy here.
I believe so. So I'm going to walk the course on Tuesday. I'll get a lot more intel, but the idea from what I understand is very generous off the tee. As long as you're not playing out of the desert, you're good. It's pure desert golf. And then the way that Fazio has designed these green complexes, larger than average, but they have, sections to them. So as long as you're in the right section, there's not a lot of huge undulation. They're more subtle breaks, which starts to lead me to believe, longer, inaccurate drivers probably have the bigger edge over a normal PGA Tour course, and then being able to kind of hit those second shots onto the correct tier or the correct area or region is really what is going to set you apart this week.
All right. Are they going to make you park on the driving range if you go to the course?
Okay. Did you see this?
Yeah.
What is happening? I show up at TPC Summerlin. Hey, where's media parking? Over here. Great. Hey, just park right here. It is literally on the left-hand side of the driving range. I get out. There are 6 golf balls like right underneath my car. And I'm like, so the woman said, oh, because it was Pro-Am day, the amateurs are on the far side. I'm like, that doesn't matter. I've seen these guys get loose at times. It was absolutely bonkers. I was worried about it. Hopefully better conditions on Tuesday.
Did you have any dents and dings and anything like that?
No, I was so scared, Pat. I moved it after like 30 minutes. I was like, and I went to the driving range and I was like, I can't watch these guys do this. I have to move my car. I went and I parked in general parking. I couldn't take it anymore.
Did they give you any sort of shit about getting your media pass? Because I remember at the DFS Open, I got a media pass to the Honda Classic, which I then didn't go to because I was hungover and just wanted to watch it on the I think me and you watched it on TV at our Airbnb.
Like, I don't need to go there.
Yeah, I get the gist of it. I'll just bet on Sung Jae from here. And that turned out to be great. Should have done that last week, now that I think about it. But like the guy who like ran the media for the Honda Classic just gave me so much shit. He's like, I've never heard of DraftKings. It's like, I do work for the PGA Tour too. Have you heard of them? He's like, I've never heard of you. I was like, just give me the fucking pass. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, it is very low key at Shriners. Let me tell you, there are times even without passes that I've seen people walking around in places they probably shouldn't. So it's pretty low key over there. So luckily, no, I did not have any issues fetching my credentials.
Well, let's talk Summit Club. It's a par 72, 7,431 yards. What do we got here? We got a par 3 that's 235. I'm looking at the officials. There's a par 3 that's 138 somehow. I'm sure that's going to be bananas. So there's one like really long par 3. It looks like, is number 12 drivable? The 360 par 4 12th?
Yeah, so I think they're going to make that a drivable 4, I believe. Obviously, depending on where they put it, kind of similar to what we had at 15 at Summerlin last week, where it's basically drivable. The thing that's interesting for people who aren't aware, we're at 2,300 feet of altitude here, so there is like a 4 to 6% kind of reduction to these distances. This isn't even going to play as long as the scorecard says it is. In my opinion, I think it's going to be pretty gettable.
So they're going for 2 on the par 5s, is what you're saying.
I believe so. Yeah, I think that's going to be the case. And the rough is I'm assuming going to be nothing. It's going to be something. I'm pretty sure.
78 players are in the field. It is a no cut event. It's a pretty strong field, but if we go to the 10K range on DraftKings, DJ coming off his one good tournament he won the Masters, had no good tournaments, and he played really well at the Ryder Cup. He's the most expensive, and he can regain the number 1 spot in the world rankings while Rom is over in Spain playing Valderrama. But 11-3 for DJ. 11-1 for JT. Morikawa is 10-8. Xander, Spieth, Rory. This doesn't really strike me as a big Spieth course, but why am I just not taking Morikawa at 10-8? Isn't he a member here?
Yes, and he plays when he's in town, he is here nearly daily, every single day. I guess the interesting thing is going to be everyone knows that, right? Everyone knows the narrative. I assume he's going to be the most popular golfer in the 10K range. There have been plenty of instances in which guys who are members at places don't like it when tournaments get here. Summerlin last week was a great example. I play there all the time. I've never seen any of those pin locations, right? Because they would never do that to the membership. Now, Colin Morikawa also, not sure if you've heard, Pat, very, very good at golf. So I don't know if it matters, but there is, I do wonder what the tipping point of this narrative and what the ownership is before you just flip to Xander, who is 5 minutes down the road, constantly playing all these courses in Vegas and is always in complete control of his game.
I feel like you could probably take both those guys. The one thing, it's not so much the membership, because we see this is the Ryan Palmer at Colonial every year that he doesn't win.
Correct.
But with Morikawa, if this truly is going to be a second shot and putting course, if he's familiar with these greens and can adjust to the new speed for a tour event, it feels like he should at least have good recognition of the tiers that he needs to be on, even if the pin placements are a little bit different. And he is the best iron player in the world, so he should be able to figure that out pretty quickly. Just make some putts, Colin. You're good to go.
Yeah, you counteract the membership, either positive or negative, with just the fact that he's, one of the best in the world. So I certainly don't mind that. I'm probably more bullish on Jordan Spieth than you are. I mean, listen, to me, he can get loose with the driver here. That's fine. I don't think it's going to cause him, like, his big issue is when you start sticking it in, the 4-inch rough, or you're finding hazards off the tee. There are a couple of bodies of water out there. I think they come into play on 7 holes, but for the most part, I think you're going to be able to drive it without much regard for accuracy. And that it might not be the perfect setup for Spieth, but I think at least it doesn't disadvantage him to be inaccurate with the driver.
I think what I would do is just drop to the 9s and play Hovland instead. Morikawa and Hovland. Just play some young guys and we'll be good.
My heart flutters for Victor Hovland. I mean, he is, one, so special, 2, the best ball striker in the field last week. He lost nearly 9 strokes around the green. That's not going to happen again. I mean, he's so dialed in with the longer clubs. If this turns into a second shot course and no one has ever seen it, and he's obviously on the younger side of the tour where he goes a lot of places he's never seen before. Yes, I'm like all in on Vic Hovland this week. Yeah,
28-1 on DraftKings Sportsbook as well. So I'll probably be betting Hovland for the first time in ages. And like you said, 9 strokes lost around the greens, not on the greens. Right. Around the greens, which makes it really impressive because, like you said, he led the field in ball striking. So it's not like he was missing a bunch of greens in regulation. So what this boiled down to was, I guess, every time that he missed a green, he flubbed a chip in front of him. How do you lose that many strokes?
Yeah, so I followed him a lot. He had he hit on his approach onto 8's a par 3. He was in the greenside bunker, left it in the bunker, and then didn't hit a good one out of there. That hurts it. He was basically just in the wrong spot in a lot of places and hit a lot of the 10 greens that he missed. He hit horrible chips and pitches onto all of them.
Yeah, that about tracks. And now when I put money on him, somehow it's going to get even worse. There's no Mito for me to lose money on this week, so that's always a nice thing to have. But DJ, I mean, if we talk, Justin Thomas was putting really well at the Ryder Cup, and obviously that's going to change week to week, but he's not a great driver of the ball. He is an excellent iron player, and if he can get it rolling, maybe it's not Morikawa Xander, maybe it's Thomas in Morikawa to go to, because I just don't know what to do with DJ right now. He's so expensive. If he plays prime DJ, he's going to win, but outside of a match play event, like, he legit has not looked good in ages.
It's true. I'm probably more bullish on him than you are. So here's the thing with DJ, kind of narrative street, is no matter what direction he's going in, sometimes it's hard to stop him, right? When he starts going great, he wins everything. The end of 2020, he's just piling up victories in top tens. And then for the vast majority of this year, he's headed in the wrong direction and he can't figure it out. The thing that I don't think we're talking about is that he's gained strokes putting in like 9 of his last 11 measured events. He's rolling the rock right now. If he gets back to his DNA, which is, hit it far off the tee, I don't even care how accurate it is, he's going to have wedge into so many of these greens. I see a path for Dustin Johnson. I'm not sprinting to get him into my lineups, but I certainly see the path for him.
Like, would you say the opposite of Rory right now then? Who?
Yes.
He's kind of,
yeah. I'm like,
is he broken?
I'm super nervous.
What's wrong with Rory? But it's a Fazio course, so he's going to win.
I know I'm worried about Rory. So it's kind of right. It's the opposite thing of even Jordan Spieth, right? Where Rory's biggest weapon when he's going well is the driver. If that is a bit negated this week, he now relies on a wedge game that has been pretty sour for the better part of a year, and then leaving a lot of questions with the flat stick when he does get on the green. So yeah, I'm pretty worried about Rory. The only thing that I think would be interesting is, if there are, and I'll find this out on Tuesday, if there are kind of areas where these fairways pinch in and you either have to carry the bunker or lay back, that would help good drivers. But otherwise, I think it's mostly going to be negated for some of the better drivers of the golf ball.
So for my DraftKings lineups, I think it's going to be JT and Morikawa for me. It's going to be tough to play them in the same lineup unless we find some guys from the very bottom to end up pairing them with. So if we drop to the 9s, I mentioned Hovland. I like Hovland a lot. I'm going to bet Hovland this week. You mentioned best in ball striking last week in the field. I mean, it's not like he learned how to chip over the course of the last 4 days, but maybe he just won't have to do with that often. You said they're very big greens. Going to be even harder to hit their miss this time around. Burns is up there at 98. Brooks, Finau, Sungjae coming off the win. Decky, Louis, Cam, Answer, Scheffler. And Scheffler's rebound round in round 2 at the Shriners was completely putting based. He gained 4 strokes putting. The ball striking was still god awful, like it was in day 1. Because I really looked at him, it's like, oh, these are the perfect guys that I love to go to. Bad round 1, killed it in round 2, and then I went and looked how he actually did it in round 2. I was like, oh, he was actually like worse ball striking than he was the day before. It's just he made every single putt. So that's kind of worrisome. I think everyone who looks at stats is just going to go to Louis at 93, and I'd be hard to disagree with him.
Yeah, 3rd in the field in strokes gained tee to green last week, a very quiet T14, and he lost strokes putting, and he's, statistically was the best putter on tour last season. So yes, anybody who looks at anything metrics based is going to look at that. I mean, what do we do with like Sam Burns is maybe the hottest player on the planet. I mean, from tee to green, he's piling it up right now. Had a horrible Sunday at Shriners, still gained 8 strokes tee to green on the week. He's now lost both at Sanderson Farms and Shriners. He's lost strokes putting in both of those. He's a very, very good putter. Are we destined for him to find the flat stick and win this by 3 shots?
Maybe. The one thing I would go back and caution with, he gained 3.6 strokes in round 2 at Shriners. He lost strokes on approach in the other 3 rounds, which, if you're not going to be making all of your putts, is going to be pretty tough. And that finally caught up with him in what was a birdie fest in the final round. He shot over par. I just still think it's too much for Sam Burns. Like, I didn't mind him as much last week because I knew that no one was going to play him, but back-to-back big finishes. Maybe he gets lost in the shuffle with a lot of the bigger names around him right now. I just feel like there's better, if it's the difference between, let me bring up the pricing again. So if it's the difference between me playing Sam Burns or playing, let's say, Tyrrell Hatton at 84, but not playing Burns gets me Morikawa in my lineup or Thomas in my lineup, I'd rather just go up.
Interesting. Yeah, it's fair. And also the one thing that concerns me, I know this is not a major championship, but Sam Burns, his record as Fields get a little bit better. I mean, he played well at Riviera last year, probably should have won that, but like major championships, he's been horrible. I do wonder if he can be the guy who wins twice a year, but it's, Byron Nelson and something else and Sanderson Farms and not, CJ Cup and then a playoff event. So I still, as excited as I am about Sam Burns, wonder about kind of the next level of his game.
I just don't. Do you think? I mean, no one's going to use Brooks, right? Like that's not happening.
I don't think so, but wouldn't you? Okay, so there's a lot to unravel here. He's obviously has unreal win equity. The ceiling is very, very high. You guarantee him 4 rounds. I feel like that's kind of good because sometimes Brooks gets to these events. We saw it at Palmetto. We see it at a lot of places where he has a bad round 1 and he's just like, I almost want to miss the cut. Like I'm ready to get out of here. I think he took full advantage of Vegas in his first week, right? He went to the Fury Wilder fight. He's having a great time. I wonder if this is a little bit more business as usual. Let's go with a top tier field and show these guys I'm one of the best players in the world.
I think I'd rather risk my money in the betting market on Brooks than risk my DraftKings lineup because Finau is the better DraftKings play going into the week.
Yeah, so I tend to agree with. Putting someone in your DraftKings lineup is, it's a risky proposition. You don't necessarily want the outright win equity guy if that's all that Brooks brings to the table, because so often he will similarly ruin your lineup. So I understand the sentiment there. Also, he's just not putting well, right? 4 straight events, he's lost strokes putting. I don't know. It's a scary thing when the argument for or against Brooks Koepka, I'm trying to make it based on his perception of the city that he's in. And it's such a fool's errand to try to pull this off.
Yeah. You can just say you don't want to play him. I would contend, however, that this would be the exact type of tournament where you do want to take the win equity guys because they can't miss the cut.
Yeah, guaranteed 4 rounds unless he really, really wants to get out of here. And then birdie makers, right? That's the other thing that we see. And there's plenty of those as we go down the list. These guys that are constantly going to be outpacing their finishing position with birdies and offsetting them with bogeys is insanely valuable right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brooks, and maybe I'll throw Brooks into the player pool at a very small margin. Is Louis going to be so popular we can't play him? Because you mentioned Brooks has lost strokes putting in 4 straight events. Louis lost it in 3 straight now.
Yeah, but yeah, it's true. I think Louis will be pretty popular. $9,300. I don't think that there's a lot of people who are going to be thrilled to go back to like Abraham Answer or Scotty Scheffler after, they were a big reason for a sub 1% 6 of 6 rate last week. So I do think Louis is going to be incredibly popular. I think it's warranted, but in game theory, the argument is usually when Louis popular, you don't play him. When he is, 7%, that's the time to run him out. So I do think you're going to have to make a Louis decision based on the contest that you're playing and the game theory that you're trying to deploy.
All right, let's jump down into the 8s unless you have a pretty strong case for like Cam Smith or Scotty Scheffler or any of those guys.
Let's jump on down to the 8s.
All right, to the 8s we go. We got Harris English, who I really like this week. Tommy Fleetwood, Webb Simpson, Leishman, Kokrak, Hatton, Lowry, Casey, Scott, Reed, Rose. Oh, Rose, and he's in the 7,000s anyway. We can just stop talking about him. Adam Scott can't stop gaining strokes with his approach. I don't understand how he finishes like T37 every single week because apparently he can't drive the ball anymore. But Harris English, I don't know what happened to his putter. He lost 6 strokes putting in 2 rounds. That's what happened to him last week.
That was his worst 2-round putting performance of his career. 6 strokes putting. That's it's funny. He had to re-grip that putter. That putting grip that he has that's basically falling apart. He had to do a little bit of surgery on that at the Ryder Cup. And I honestly think for a guy who's had his putting grip for 15 years, altering it like that is probably what led to this. These guys are so mental, but he gained 2 strokes on approach over those 2 rounds. You look at what he did, you look at what guys like Jason Kokrak and Webb Simpson did. Simpson and Kokrak were both 4 under, missed the cut. They both gained strokes on approach. They both lost strokes with the putter. These are guys that are easy to buy back in on. It's for them to get back to their baseline, get back to their DNA, and probably while most people are forgetting that they exist.
Yeah, Kokrak was the next one at $8,500. I really want to play Patrick Reed, but he might just have to stick to the betting card because Adam Scott is the far more logical choice here.
Yeah, Adam Scott, again, he's another guy that I was able to get a lot of eyes on because he played with Hovland and Hideki the first couple of days. And, you know, it was interesting. He didn't play all that well, but you can tell, like, when he gets going, he can have these 5 or 6 or 7 hole stretches in which he can just put up a bunch of points and he can rack up birdie streaks, and he's a threat to get you an eagle every now and again. So yes, it was pretty impressive when he's on top of his game. Obviously, he didn't have it for all 72 holes last week, but he still has plenty of magic in that sweet swing.
Anyone else in the eights that we should be should we be talking about Lowry or Hatton or those guys, or just say, you know what, I like English, I like Kokrak, I like Adam Scott, and then we can find some other guys to throw in.
Yeah, I worry about Casey, who did not play well at the Shriners, missed the cut. He didn't play well at the Ryder Cup. I think there is intrigue in Hatton and Lowry, right? These are the guys that we have not seen really since the Ryder Cup. And I imagine most people are just going to kind of scroll right past them. And Shane Lowry has been, to his credit, really good on approach over the last 6 months or so. He would be the one guy that I think when we get ownership projections as we get closer to Locke, who's going to come in super, super low owned, that I would not be worried about taking a flyer on.
Okay. Shane Lowry, I'll throw him on the short list, and I'll use fantasynational.com for my ownership projections for the week. And as we're speaking on Monday evening, probably not the most accurate at the moment. And where this is a West Coast start in terms of time zone, you can just check in and make your lineups either on late on Wednesday evening or early on Thursday morning to have the most up-to-date ownership projections. And then in a small field like this, you have to play the percentages, even if it's someone you don't want to play. If they're Shane Lowry and they're 2% owned in a 78-man field, you kind of have to play him at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because you've got no missed cut worries this week. Yeah, it really is. And there's going to be guys as we get down to the 6K range that, like, hey, if they finish, T39, they might have paid themselves off. So there's a lot more strategy this week. And I don't think people realize it. They just say, oh, I can't miss the cut, I'm just going to play the guys that I like or whatever. But there's a lot more to it than it appears.
Any of those guys in the 7K range for you? Because I'm seeing like Rose. I'm not playing Rose. I was actually just thinking about playing Henley and Siwoo.
Yeah. Okay. So I always get Siwoo wrong, but he's been pretty darn good recently. Obviously still that volatile nature, no problem there if that's what you're investing in. The one for me is Aaron Wise, and I'm not a particularly big Aaron Wise fan. He's $7,400. He was 25th on tour in strokes gained tee to green last year. So that's like, when you're top 25 in a category that important, it's impressive, and it's a really good start. And it speaks to how bad of a putter he was, but he's starting to make gains there. Gained strokes again last week. Now 3 out of his last 5, he's gained strokes with the putter. And I'll tell you what, Pat, I was there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every single non-minute or every single minute that Aaron Wise was not playing out on the golf course, he was on the putting green grinding, and it is showing up in his stats. It's been pretty impressive. And if he unlocks that part of his game, I think he can make a lot of noise moving forward.
All right. We'll just call you Ben Raza because you've just suggested
that's a
Aaron
Raza
Wise.
guy.
that is Raza's guy. So apparently Aaron Wise is going to win, and we're going to win all the money this week. Is he still doing the broomstick putter? Because I know he changed that in the playoffs.
Broomstick, baby. Yeah, he's it seems to work for him. It's ugly, but effective.
Mav McNeely is 7,300. I believe he is also a member here too.
Correct. Las Vegas resident, plays all over, but I am also under the impression that he is a member here, which is interesting, right? Because you normally like McNeely.
Small greens.
Yes, right. That's what I was thinking. Shorter courses, small greens. I was trying to think about what kind of course would fit McNeely. I'm not sure this is it, but I do like at least a little bit of knowledge there. Yeah,
I'm probably going to pass on McNeely. I think that narrative is going to become overwhelming. And unlike at the top with Morikawa, you don't have Dustin Johnson and Justin Thomas and Xander Schauffele sitting next to him. So it does feel like the ownership is just going to concentrate there on McNeely. Although Gooch will probably be pretty popular. Like stat modeling will show you that Harold Varner III is like the best player on tour right now.
Will HV3 play? Just had congrats to him and his wife. Just had HV4. I think it was Sunday night or Monday morning. I wonder if he will end up teeing off here on Thursday.
Well, new baby or go to Vegas? Well, I've been in that situation. Vegas is the answer.
Is that a tough sell to the missus? Like, one day after your new baby, hey, I got to run to Vegas for work.
Hey, I got to go win $2 million. Yeah, I feel like you could fudge those.
It's also like $50K guaranteed just to hit a tee shot. Maybe, I mean, it's definitely worth the trip, right?
Well, I'm not American, but isn't that like, that covers like 1/5 what it costs to have a baby or something?
Oh yeah, they're still in the hole. Yeah, for sure. But it's a lot of diapers. It's a lot of formula. But yes, hopefully he has good health insurance. HV3, congrats.
Do they provide health insurance on the PGA Tour? I feel like the PGA would do that.
Oh, it's a good question. They have a retirement plan. So there are benefits. I don't know if they extend to healthcare or if that's where they draw the line and say, you guys are independent contractors. I don't know. There's definitely a retirement plan. I'm not sure about healthcare.
I wonder if that's going to be one of the selling points of the Pro Golf League, or whatever the hell that thing is.
Yeah, we'll pay your medical bills. That would be a big selling point, I think.
6Ks. I saw Poulter was trying to rent a yacht.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, he put it on Instagram that he just like, does anyone know where I can rent a 10 to 15 person yacht? And I was like, oh, it sounds like Poulter's there to party.
Where's he going to take it? Lake Las Vegas, Lake Mead? Like, well, we're in the middle of the desert. What's he doing with it?
I don't know how far away is like Lake Tahoe.
Okay, Tahoe. Yeah, well, he's got to get back for the. Okay, I guess he missed the cut last week. He had a couple of extra days. That would make sense. He could have gone to Tahoe. That would have been a good time. Poulter, yeah, that's not bad.
Like when we start looking down here, like we're back on Bent, so Schwartzel could pop out. There's a bunch of like creative player Asian tour guys that I've never heard of before, like Jack Hyun Lee or Seung Hyun Kim. I mean, more Kims the better, really. There's 3 Kims at the bottom of this field. Not one of them is Si Woo. He's way too expensive. Munoz is down here. Ari Iggs. Ortiz played a lot better last week.
Ortiz played better. From what I saw with Harry Higgs, this was the eye test. He was in control of his game. Tee to green, didn't putt all that well. I don't know what his stats ended up finishing, but there is a guy here. It's Cam Davis. He's $6,400. He is, again, I think a beneficiary of hit it far, don't worry about where it lands type of golf. And also he is by far bent grass is his best surface. So I think it might be a fire up Cam Davis week. And if you like the momentum from Sunday at Shriners, he shot his round of the week. I think it was a 64 or 65 on Sunday. Can
I interest you in Wyndham Championship cut misser and Shriners cut misser, Ricky Fowler?
Unfortunately, you cannot. I tried, I was happy to try to be early on Ricky last week at the Shriners, but it might be more of the same from the last 18 months for Ricky, which is unfortunate. The game is much better when he's playing well, but no, I will now officially be late on Ricky, and it might be a while.
Or you could just save your money and not play Ricky. And it's like, oh yeah, this worked out really well.
Yeah, I mean, right. Trying to be late on him, right, and not playing him hasn't burned us for 18 months. So I think it's okay to continue this for the foreseeable future until we start to see some of those metrics turn back into his favor.
If we're gonna lean heavy on irons, Hoagie continues to hit his irons really, really well. Who else do we got here? Keegan. What? I don't want to play Keegan. Keegan in a no cut.
No,
he'll make birdies.
It's just
maybe if he
he
might make birdies.
I can't do it. Johnny Vegas?
Why Vegas? I've seen the name floated around a bit, and I just assumed it's because the tournament is in Vegas. And people are like, oh, Johnny Vegas.
Yeah. That's why I'm just confused about the location. It would be a great story. Here's why I think Vegas is interesting. He's $6,300. We know he's always great off the tee. Last 24 rounds, he's like top, I'm counting 18-ish in strokes gained approach. I mean, he's ball striking it much better. He's very, very cheap. He's priced amongst guys that he's probably a lot better than, and he offers a lot of salary cap relief. That's why he gets there for me. I'm not a Johnny Vegas truther or anything like that, but I can understand it.
I just feel like if you mitigate his best weapon, that becomes problematic. He's dropped strokes on approach in three of his past 5 rounds to a lot of because I was looking at him as well over the past 24 rounds, and I went and looked at it. It's mainly from like the 3M and the Wyndham, mainly the 3M when a lot of those stats are coming from. If you just look at Grace, the driving sucks, but the approaches are really good, and I can't really figure out his putter. It's either really good or really bad. I think I'd rather go with that class of player who I just think is a lot better than Johnny Vegas.
It is interesting. These guys who drive it well, man, if that's their only weapon, it might not be a great week for them, because I think everybody's gonna. I think you're spot on there.
Or we could be completely misreading the situation, and it's one of those things where if you're a good driver, you become like a great driver because of the elevation, because you can just go hog wild at it, and you're basically chipping onto every green. There's that outcome as well.
The best setup. So if you're Rory McIlroy, if you're Johnny Vegas, what you hope to find when you roll up to Summit Club is deep bunkers pinched in at like 300 yards, and where it's like, or maybe 290. Like if I where guys have to say, I'm going to try to carry this and keep it in the fairway, or I have to either shape it through or hit 3-wood. Like Abe Answer might be like, oh crap, I got to hit 3-wood here so I don't roll this into one of these bunkers. And now you have like a 30-yard gap between you and the rest of the field. That would be best case scenario. I will hope to find that out later this week, but at this point, I'm not positive if it's going to be a benefit or not.
Remember when Kevin Na was like the most popular guy at the Fortnite Championship?
Yeah.
No one's going to use him this week.
Does he get credit for pre-baby swag? Just announced that his third child is on the way.
I don't see why we wouldn't give him that. I mean, if he wins, we will definitely credit that sort of baby swag. That's a narrative that I will help push. He's $7,800, and I'm just always in the camp, like how I think it was Raza and I were talking about this the last time he was around. It's like, if he's popular, don't play him. If he's not popular, play him. It's a pretty easy formula.
He is obviously from Las Vegas. He would have been one of the most popular golfers. I think even after the miscut at the Fortinet, he would have been one of the most popular golfers last week at TPC Summerlin because of the great history there. Withdrawals because of the rib injury. But if you go look at large, however detailed you want to get, large bent grass greens, Kevin Na is like one of the best guys on tour in the last 10 years in terms of like strokes gained putting, and he always gets it going in Vegas. So yeah, I would love to see like a 78 player field, like sub 7% Kevin Na could be pretty interesting.
I would say even sub 10%. That just has a lot of, and there's not a lot that I like in that upper sevens at the same time. Just looking at his past 8 rounds, like he lost 1.7 strokes on approach in the second round of the Fortnite. After that, he gained an average of 1.4 strokes gained on approach in his previous 7 rounds. Maybe his game's a little bit out of whack after withdrawing last week with an injury in a no-cut event. Like Kevin Na, Jason Day, Louis Oosthuizen, those are 3 guys that can kill you in a tournament like this if they just withdraw. And you're like, oh, some of my guys did miss the cut. This isn't great. And I think that there's a stigma attached to them because now Day reeks, so no one's going to use Day anyway. But with Louis and Na, maybe their ownership does get quelled just a little bit, at least at the ceiling end of whatever that projection is, because people don't trust them.
They have gotten a little bit better at withdrawing before the tournament starts. Louis did it a couple of months ago. Kevin Na did it on like Tuesday last week instead of like the 11 a.m. Eastern, tweet from PGA Tour comms that these guys have withdrawn. So they've gotten a little bit better, but you're right. This is that is the one path to total disaster, is having the guy who withdraws this week while everyone else gets 4 guaranteed rounds.
I forget who it was in the Tour Championship. I think it was Jim Furyk withdrew in the first round of the Tour Championship. It was just like, and he was like 15% owned. People lost their shit. I didn't have him, so I thought it was hilarious. I suppose if I had him, I would have been pissed off, but you kind of have to roll with it. And they're the type of guys. Louis is just going to be popular because the stats from last week check out. Louis has been great. We expect the putting to rebound, but Na doesn't have that same level of trust. People ride Na until he shits the bed, which he's done now, that he withdrew last week. It's just going to be bad vibes around Kevin Na.
If you blindly bet Kevin Na,
you'd be
outright,
up so much money.
Yeah, just for like the last 4 years, right? You'd be up so much on it.
I got it
because he wins once a year.
Yeah, I got him at
60 to 1.
Colonial at 60 to 1. That was the one time that I actually cashed in on Kevin Na. But Colonial's been good to me over the years. I'm like Na and Kokrak. Just bet all my guys who win at Colonial. Maybe this will be the course for them.
There you go. Yeah, there are a couple of guys that if you've just been blindly bet, Morikawa is, I mean, to me, I'll be interested to see what they do with his number right now that he's got 5 wins, 2 major championships. Are they going to let him slip down to the 30s again anytime soon? Like we'll see. But yeah, he's one of those guys that I think you might get away with just blindly betting for a while.
Well, let's talk about bets. I had been blindly betting Morikawa for ages. I finally missed him at the Open Championship, the only one that I haven't been a part of yet. So Colin's been very good to me. It's like Patrick Reed. If you would, and that's the reason that I bet Siwoo every single week, except for the week that he won, I didn't bet him because his odds were down because I'm an idiot. But if you had just been betting Siwoo every event for the past 6 years, you'd be up a lot of money. Patrick Reed's the same way, that he wins so often and his odds always just slip and slip and slip that who cares if the course isn't right for him or whatever. He just finds, like, who would have thought he would have won at Torrey Pines? Like, that's insane.
Yeah, that was like the worst place for him, and he figured out a way. He figured out a way to win. Yeah, I agree. I think he's got 9 wins now at this point. It's some guys just find a way to show up in the winner's circle. Patrick Reed definitely one of them.
So bets, I like Hovland at 28. Thanks to my guy, Tom Jacobs. He is doing the European Picks and Bet show on Mayo Media Network. He gave out Wilco this morning, Nienbar, whatever the hell his last name is, at 100 to 1. He's down to 80 to 1 now. I still bet it at 80 to 1 with the each way, but it's Hovland. I might just say screw it. Morikawa still feels underpriced at 16 to 1. Like, the fact that he's not 10 to 1 with Dustin and he's not as high as Justin Thomas speaks to the fact that the books still aren't there with him yet. And I saw an 18 that you might be able to find.
Yeah, the how scared books are to get burned by Dustin Johnson and Justin Thomas, where all it takes is like any glimmer of them playing well to shoot them 1-2 here. I tend to agree with you. I was expecting to wake up on Monday morning and see Morikawa, 10 or 12. I don't know if I will get there. I might, but I'm all Hovland for sure. I'm on. If I then start to extend the card down a little bit further, I'm a little bit interested in Aaron Wise, but I don't know if that guy can actually win the golf tournament, right? So I'd probably look to someone kind of in the middle there, which is I don't mind Harris English. I don't mind Harris English at 35 to 1 on a course that nobody's really seen. He's usually well-rounded and he's coming off just a week that's never going to happen again.
Well, if you have access to a book that is cool and you can bet on it, you might be able to get Harris English at 50 to 1.
I do like 50 more than 35 for sure.
I think I'm going to bet that right now as we're talking. What are Nah? I didn't even see Nah 55 here. What's he on DK? He is 55 on DK. What's he here? Kevin Na 50. So somehow Kevin Na and Harris English are the same odds on the one site that has the good Harris English odds, which are the worst Kevin Na odds you could find. This site's so weird, but I've caught them with some really big golf numbers in the past. It's the best site to look for if you think that an odd is ever going to be off. It's always on this site.
A little shopping goes a long way, Pat, especially for some of these numbers. Cam Davis, 130 to 1. I will have a Cam Davis ticket this week.
That's pretty good. 130 to 1. What's Wise then? Would you rather have Wise or would you rather have Cam Davis?
Nah, I'd still rather have Cam Davis, I think. I mean, Wise is not going to win this twice as often as Cam Davis is. As much as I love Wise, and he's honestly probably better in DraftKings because he's a birdie maker and then he gives them all back. Cam Davis, just raw talent upside. Let's go 130 to 1.
In fairness, I'm looking at a 65 to 1 Aaron Wise. I just assumed that they would be around the same. They are not. So
they are not.
Yeah, let's take a hard pass on that one. Your guy, Johnny Vegas, is 125 to 1, it looks like. Yeah, but is this one of the, because I know Kokrak won this event, was it Shadow Creek last year, but it's usually one of the very top, and this is most of the top guys, and when most of the top guys get together, one of the top guys usually wins.
Yeah, that's why it's hard to even go to like Cam Davis, right? And we see this from WGCs too, then which they're basically doing away with WGCs. But yeah, when you get no cut, 4 guaranteed rounds, and a lot of the top, call it 40 players in the world, one of the top like 15 guys wins it. So it is probably beneficial to just kind of stack your card up top and hope for the best.
So Hovland, English.
Yeah, Hovland's going to win for sure.
All right, well, that's good news because I just found him at 30, so I bet him at 30, and we'll see how that ends up going. So Hovland 30, English 50. I'll probably just end up betting Morikawa at 16. Just those are my 3 guys. I'll ride with him. Actually, what are Kokrak's odds? Kokrak's 60 here.
50 on DraftKings, I believe.
50 on DraftKings. I should just be using the site that you and Feinberg and now Tom do work for, Odds Checker. I can just go look at everything on the screen all in one spot. That'd be handy.
It is handy.
Yeah, so 50 to 1. So yeah, I'll make a decision on Morikawa. I'll release my cheat sheet in the newsletter that comes out on Tuesday. but that's probably where I'm going to end up going with. I'm surprised. I mean, Brooks at 30 is a pretty good number.
Yeah, I had that conversation. I actually had that conversation with Feinberg, which is like, when Brooks wins this and at 30-1, aren't you going to feel pretty stupid? Right. Like when a 3 gets next to Brooks's name, I feel like you almost have to blindly bet it. Like it's so scary to see him down. They're just hanging that number for us.
So I'll put Brooks ? And Reed at 65-1 at question mark. That's a big number for Patrick Reed, who is maybe the worst player on tour right now.
He's been so bad. He was bad at the end of last year, and then he came out and was with all the narrative, all the snubbed Ryder Cup conversation. It was horrible, which is like so scary.
So yeah, maybe Morikawa 16, Brooks 30, Hovland 30, English 50. I can afford that. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, you can afford it.
Yeah, you'll just have to send me some money and we'll be good to go. Do you see
is the exchange rate in our is it in your favor these days?
Yeah, but it's not
American.
It's not as much in my favor as it has been in the past, which is, so I'm just hoarding American money at the moment until the dollar, like, it's been this way at the beginning of the pandemic, like the first month in March. I became like the richest person alive because the US dollar went to like 150, like $1.50 for 6 weeks versus the Canadian dollar. And then it went down to like a 4-year low. It's been like 1.23. I was like, oh man, if I just had all the money then as I do now and could have cashed it out, this would have been glorious. I mean, that's a big change when that's like, what is that, a 25% change? Like when you go up in a dollar? That's huge money.
Yeah, it's massive. It's massive. Sorry, I cut you off. What were you saying? Did I see what?
Yeah, the players news. It's now the prize pool's up to like 20 million for the players.
They're gonna. It might not be a major, but it pays. It pays better than one. Yeah, I mean, and they added money to the Tournament of Champions purse. They are giving an extra $50,000 if you play 15 events. And I understand that there are more purses that are going to be raised here in the near future. So business is booming, Pat.
I like it. The only reason I saw it on Twitter, I think it was No Laying Up that tweeted it, is they compared it to like LPGA purses. I was like, you can't do that. Like that's not fair. It's not the same league. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, an LPGA, the LPGA, they're going to do a good job of this for. It's not going to be called the Evian anymore. They got a new sponsor. They got a new name. I think it's Chevron, where it's going to be on network TV. Like once you get on the net, like the network, it's so much more money. You can do a lot more sponsorship. So they're headed in the right direction. But yes, it is going to be impossible to compare these tours against one another, especially with the sponsorship money, the purses, all that stuff.
Well, I mean, the number one thing the LPGA could do right now if they want to improve their product is get better shot link, make it easy to gamble on, and then people will start watching it.
They should play. I think they should play Sunday to Wednesday. That's what they should do.
Remember when wasn't Corn Ferry doing that at the beginning of last year?
They tried it for like 6 weeks. They did it, and then they abandoned it. And I think it's because these guys go back and forth all the time, right? Corn Ferry, PGA, back and forth. It would be hard to kind of to do that, right? Where you got guys who want to play on both or who want to go, but like the LPGA doesn't have that issue. There is not a constant transition between other tours. They could do that. They could play Sunday to Wednesday and get, I would watch it more often, right? Like I'm always looking for golf to watch.
Yeah, I think that I would too. It's better than watching like the rerun of some terrible tournament from 8 years ago on the Golf Channel. Yeah. Like, don't put it on at the same time as the tournament I have money on that I'm gambling on. Like that, that's not a good recipe for success.
Well, even the PGA Tours try to figure out, hey, don't go up against
football.
Championship Sunday, right? Yeah, they're gonna finish Torrey Pines on Saturday. Like, yeah, let's be smart. I'm in favor of doing that for the entire swing season, right? Just because that way you don't have to go up against Sunday football in the entire fall. Like let's be smart about this, guys.
I have enough TVs now that I can allocate one of the TVs to golf during the late set of football games, but I'm very blessed that way. And that's how, for my job, I have it set up, that I made sure that I had that extra TV to turn on golf to watch it. I feel like most people just don't give a shit about golf this time of year, and they could make them do it. It could be all right.
Yeah. I imagine most don't have 9 TVs laying around to make all their sports watching dreams come true. But you're right, and it's not that big of a change. There are ways that you could entice people to watch more golf. You just have to be a little bit creative, swallow your pride a little bit, say we're not going to go up against football, and get some more eyeballs.
Yeah, like knowing where you stand and having good self-awareness is pretty huge. I mean, I lack that, but I feel like the PGA Tour should be able to figure this out just a little bit. Don't go up against the highest rated thing on TV. Maybe that will help. I don't know. Maybe that's just a crazy thought because people like Tim Andercuss would be like, well, you can't have tournaments that don't end on Sunday. That's not how it's done.
Real quick, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I had a conversation with a network executive this week, and I was on my soapbox for golf coverage, and I said, listen, like, just show the shots. That's what we don't care about the storytelling. Just show the shots, show more shots. And he said to me, these executives would say that you're not the target demographic. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point. I could be, Pat. Like, I could be the target demographic. The reason I'm not is because you don't show the shots. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
I was all fired up.
Yeah, well, I had basically the same conversation with someone high level at NBC one time, and I was like, and they told me the exact same thing. You're not our target demographic because I'm not an old white dude. I was like, well, I'm a young white dude who has money that I'm going to spend. You might want to.
I will be an old white dude soon.
You might want to get me as a viewer, and all of my friends who are like have their purse overflows with disposable income, like Lindsay Nagel. Like, that's who likes golf. It's disposable income people, and they can be of any age. And if you cater somewhat to, and as I've always said, why do we have to make it the CBS broadcast or the NBC broadcast? You have Peacock sitting right there. You have the Golf Channel. Just run the Shots channel, and that would be much better.
You are preaching to the choir, my friends. Yes, I completely agree with you.
So if any of you out there talk to some sort of network executive, just tell them the Green Zone. Rick and I will host it. It's not that hard.
There you go.
That'd be fun, right?
No. Yeah, show the shots, and we will shut up, and we will just say, here's Sung J M on 13. Here's Abraham Answer on 14. It'll be just rattle off the shots. We'll give you updates on the bets, and it'll be great.
Yeah, and we can do you're doing the Cut Sweat show every week over on your channel. I invented the Cut Sweat show, if you didn't know, which I probably didn't. I think Jeff did, or he stole it from someone else. Either way, imagine having a leaderboard up on the screen during a Cut Sweat show of the guys near the cut who are still on the course. Imagine.
And we know they have cameras at 9 and 18. That's where these are all ending. We're going to find out if this guy's going to make the cut in 2 shots. We're going to get a resolution in 30 seconds of whether this guy is going home or not. And he knows it, which is even great drama. Yeah, imagine.
And it can't be that hard to do because when they had like the all feeds at the Players, I was able to open up 16 boxes on my across 3 TVs and open it in Chrome, minimize it to 1/4 the screen because they didn't make it easy to quad box everything. I just had 16 groups up at one time. And you know what? It wasn't that hard to follow.
Yeah. And yes, exactly right. And you could just bop around. If they let me, I got kicked off my stream once because I showed the coverage. If they let me do that, I could do it on YouTube. It's not that hard. Just throw it up on the screen and share it. Let's go.
Yeah. Just give us access to the cameras. Sure. $20 a show. People would pay for that, I think.
Oh my God. I would empty my bank account for something like that. People would definitely pay for it.
It'd be great. And you could listen to it as an audio stream as well. They're always just running. I thought you had to pay for SiriusXM. Apparently you don't because you can just stream it straight from the app. I don't know how that sort of deal
You can do it through the app.
Yeah. Just stream it through the app. It would be fantastic. You can watch it on your phone. It'd be great. You know that we're going to be yelling about this until we actually are the demographic for the PGA Tour.
Yeah. I know. Or we are the executives, and then we're going to say, why would we do that? Our demographic is guys like us. We just want to see the story on Sunday unfold and watch 2 guys so we don't get too confused. I can't keep track of 3 guys. I got to only look at 2.
I need to remember back to that time at the CJ Cup when I forget who it was, but they said that they were going to be having a kid and then they ended up winning. I want to hear a story about where the kid's at right now. I'm going to green light that one right now. Go give me a feature. Jim Nance's head in a jar.
So good.
Good times. I'll see you in the Golf Digest call, making our picks that don't win.
Hey, I got Sam Burns 2 weeks ago.
Did you really? You bet Sam Burns is the favorite in a tournament? Honestly?
Yeah.
That blows my mind. I think he was my fade. I was like, there's no chance I'm betting Sam Burns at 14-1.
I have definitely picked more fades that have won than winners that have won, for sure.
I mean, sometimes the favorites win, I suppose. I did not read. It was like last week with Brooks. It was like Brooks is the favorite. It's like, I'm not betting Brooks. It was even like Rahm in Spain. It's like, I'm not betting a golfer plus 275 to win a golf tournament with 156 people. I don't care if he's 20 times better than everyone else who was there. Like, that's just too short.
Yeah, that's silly. The Rahm numbers are getting. I don't know when I'll be able to bet John Rahm again. It might be a year.
All it takes is one of these guys to go on a Rahm-esque run. Like if Dustin just starts doing it again, it feels like the American public doesn't love John Rahm. Therefore, the numbers over in North America might get slashed a little bit quicker. That'd be my take.
Interesting. I mean, it was DJ. I think he actually ended up withdrawing before the event, but he was like 3-1 to win Pebble Beach earlier this year. So yeah, all it takes is one of these guys to win. Yeah. Twice or 3 times in a short period, and Rahm will be back to 12, and that guy will be 4-1.
Oh, I am trying to get DraftKings to send me to Waste Management this year. So I'll do my Super Bowl week coverage and my Waste Management coverage, like live from the course. I think they're setting up the DraftKings like sportsbook type dealie that's there. Do you want to come to that if that's the case?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I'm available. That's the thing. I can kind of float around wherever. I'm happy to go to any course, do whatever you want. Yeah, let's do it.
How far away? Like how far away is that from you now? Like how would you drive or fly?
I would fly, but I mean, I guess I could drive it. It'd probably be like 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, gross.
But I would. Yeah, it'll be like an hour flight, so I'll just fly.
All right. I'll do it. On the Pat Mayo Experience, you can catch my cheat sheet up on DK Nation. The bets will be in the newsletter. Hit the description to sub to that now. Listeners League link in the description, fantasynational.com/Mayo to get 20% off. Rick, I saw you've already released your DraftKings picks over on your channel, Rick Run Good on YouTube, and let everyone else know that you're talking golf all the time and where can they watch?
Yeah, that's right. So YouTube, Rick Run Good, rickrungood.com is my data website. If you follow me on Twitter, which is shockingly at Rick Run Good, I will tweet what I see from Summit Club this week and other musings that you may or may not like. I'm
glad you were able to get the socials all on the same page because that DFS on demand was tough. Good name though.
It was tough. I mean, at the time, I thought I had a gold there, and then I was like, "Listen, this is too hard." Rick Run Good, I love that. That's great. Let's line these all up, make it easy. Yes, it was that day that I made the switch was big in my life.
What you might lose in SEO, there is a branding opportunity. Like everything that I do has my name in it, and then people just remember my name. So I think it's a good idea to go with Rick Run Good. I think that was a good move.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So, so far so good. I haven't had anybody complain about it. So not that I would care, but yeah, I think it's been good.
All right. Rick Gehman. Follow him at Rick Run Good on Twitter. You follow me at the PME. I'm doing giveaways for Millie Maker tickets this week for NFL on Wednesday. So tune into that. And don't miss the Spread Pick Show or the Friday Bet Show, which are the 2 hottest new shows of the year. Great ratings. Very good ratings for the Spread and Bet Show, as opposed to all the other shows. Except for this one. People still tune into golf all the time. So I appreciate you watching, appreciate you listening, and I hope you win this week. I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!